Welcome to Divorce, Dating, and Empowered Living with your host, Rosalind Sedacca. Join Rosalind each week on a journey toward overcoming life's many challenges to achieve peace, empowerment, and positive transformation. It's time to relax, unwind, and transform your life with Rosalind Sedacca.
Hello, everyone. This is Rosalind Sedacca, the founder of the Child-Centered Divorce Network, and you are listening to WGSN-DB, the Going Solo Network, and the show is Divorce, Dating, and Empowered Living. And today we're going to talk about an important topic for everyone who's divorced or divorcing to understand if you're a parent, and that's the co-parenting strategies that divorced parents should be using to minimize the stress, conflict, and anxiety for both you as well as for your children. And divorce obviously is a very difficult issue. It's filled with turmoil. We're very often also filled with anger and rage and resentment and hurt. And it's a time when we can dive into ourselves and be very wounded and feel sorry for ourselves. And we certainly can understand that as a normal reaction to the pain of divorce. However, if you're a parent, then you have to understand that co-parenting is the key to a successful future for your children. And the more effective and successful you can co-parent with your ex, your former spouse, the better off your children will be in the short term and in the long term. And there's no exact ways to co-parent because every family is different before the divorce. There's certainly going to be different after the divorce. But there are some basic rules and principles that will make life easier for you. And when life is easier for you, it's easier for your children. And even if you're not happy with the circumstances of interacting with your former spouse, you do it because you love your children and you want what's best for them and you want to ease the way. Remember, your children are innocent. None of this is their fault, and they didn't ask for this. And so you want to minimize the stress and anxiety and hurt and pain for them. And in most cases, children love both of their parents, and they don't want their two parents to be in such a divisive way that they're not interacting with one another. So this is a complex topic, and obviously no one is expecting you to use a few how-tos and suddenly have simple answers. That's why I do divorce and parenting coaching, and that's why there are so many resources out there. It's definitely helpful to have access to a support system. But there are some co-parenting tips that I can provide and we're going to talk about today that can make a huge difference in the outcome for you. And one of the best things is to transition as smoothly as possible into co-parenting with your ex, with your former spouse. It's not always easy, but if you use these guidelines, you're going to be on a better track and your outcome is going to be better. And what I wish for every one of you who are parents, who are following a breakup or a divorce and are needing to support your children, is to remember that every decision you make has its consequences, and you are responsible for the outcomes in your children's life. So take these guidelines seriously and remember that co-parenting, having a working, effective co-parenting relationship can make all the difference in the world for your children. So number one, first and foremost, most important for everyone to always remember is never, ever badmouth or disparage or put down your ex around the kids in person, on phone calls, where they're overhearing you talking to someone else. Keep it away from your kids. And if your children ask questions, give them age-appropriate answers that are honest but not judgmental. The purpose is to keep adult information from your children and not pointing the finger of blame at their father or their mother about the divorce. And I know this isn't easy. I know very often we justify and we say, if it wasn't for dad or their mom, my life would be better. We wouldn't be having this divorce. The outcome wouldn't be so painful. And I understand that. But children get hurt very easily, and they also feel responsible for their parents, and they feel guilty when the parents they love is being put down by the other parents. So you have to bite your tongue around the kids and remember they love both parents, and every time they hear you say something bad about their other parent, a part of them is hurt because they know they're part of both of you. And they either have to defend that parent or they're feeling guilty for still loving the parent even though you're so angry at them. It puts them in a no-win situation. So again, you want to keep your judgments and your opinions about their other parent to yourself. There'll be a time when they're grown adults. If you want to share your side of the story, then that's fine. But even with teens, it isn't wise to be opening up about these things, and it certainly is never wise to be bad-mouthing the other parent. And it can backfire on you. Very often children will grow up and turn on you and resent you or hate you because they realize that the information they were getting was colored or distorted by your anger, and they don't want to have a relationship with you in the end. So again, keep your feelings about the other parent to yourself. You don't have to praise the other parent, but you certainly never want to put them down to your children. And if they ask questions, give them age-appropriate answers that are honest without the judgmental part about the fact of how angry you may be, and let the kids make their own decisions about their parents as they experience life. Number 2, never ever fight around your children. It's parental conflict, and this has been proven in many studies. It's parental conflict that creates the turmoil and the emotional pain and upheaval for our children. It's not the divorce itself. It's the conflict that parents allow to be around the divorce. So if you keep conflict away from your children, they're much better able to handle the adjustments that they need to make regarding the divorce, regarding the changes in their life and their lifestyle. Children can adapt to change, but when they're faced with the parental conflict, it hurts them, it wounds them inside, it affects their little psyches, and it forces them to grow up too soon also. It makes them want to protect one or both of parents, and suddenly instead of enjoying the innocence of childhood, they are parenting you and trying to help you cope with your anger or be angry for you and with you. And all of that creates turmoil in a child. It changes who they are. We don't want to be changing who our children are. We want to be supporting them and giving them a life that's as easy as possible at all times. Number 3, always offer your former spouse, your ex, the opportunity to spend special times with the kids, and especially before you would invite a new relationship partner for special events. If it's the child's birthday, if it's a sports team event, if you're doing things related to the child, let their biological parent have the first option for doing that because it's their biological parent, and it means a lot on both sides to your ex as well as to your child, and it's an extension of goodwill. For example, if you have a teen who's going to learn driving or taking a driving test or trying out for a new sport, let their mother or father have first options of having that experience with them before you insult them and hurt them and let someone who's a stranger in the family have that responsibility. It's a respect issue, and it means a lot to the children. It certainly means a lot to your former spouse, and it's extending a hand of gratitude. It's showing that you're trying to co-parent in a caring, respectful manner. And the more you do that, the more likely your exes, no matter how contentious they may be and no matter how much of an SOB they may be, they're much more likely to respond in kind when you take the first step and offer the olive branch and offer to show that you respect the fact that they are a parent. They're much more likely to respond in a positive manner than if you do the opposite and start creating anxiety and hatred and more wounds between the two of you, because then it's so easy for them to get back at you. So we're going to take a quick break right now. You're listening to WGSN-DB, the Going Solo Network. Our show is Divorce, Dating, and Empowered Living, and we'll be right back.
You're listening to WGSN-DB, Going Solo Network, Singles Talk Radio Channel, where we take a lighthearted and candid approach to discussions on the journey of relationship loss, divorce, parenting, being single, relationships building, dating, and yes, sex. Join our listeners and begin living your best life.
Hello, everyone. This is Rosalind Sedacca, and I'm the host of WGSN-DB Going Solo Network's Divorce, Dating, and Empowered Living. And I am talking today about co-parenting tips and strategies that can make life easier for everyone in the family. As you know, I'm the founder of the Child-Centered Divorce Network, a divorce and parenting coach, and I work internationally by phone and Skype to coach people on issues related to their divorce or dating after divorce, especially when you're a parent and you have issues regarding your children, because we want to protect and honor our children and give them the very best childhood that we possibly can. And so making life as easy for them as possible just makes sense. So we're talking about ways and tips and guidelines for co-parenting success, and we're going to talk about number 4, which is prioritizing mom and dad being together for special occasions in the co-parenting equation in the months and years and decades following your divorce. Your children are going to be celebrating birthdays. There's going to be holidays, graduations, and many other significant events. If you're considerate of one another as co-parents, it's much easier to eliminate stress in your children's lives to know that they can, from time to time, enjoy an event with a sense of family support. There's nothing more outrageous than seeing a couple getting married and knowing that their moms and dads can't be invited to the wedding because they're not mature enough to spend a couple of hours together in the same room enjoying the beauty of the moment. Same thing with your child's graduation and special events and honors and occasions and special birthdays and times. These are family times, and healthy families have the co-parents both there, as well as their significant others or their second marriage spouses or whatever the relationship is. You can all be there as mature adults, and it eliminates the stigma, the stress on the children of saying, what are we going to do about mom and dad being in the same room? To me, that is the height of immaturity as a parent, and it's very egocentric. It's very selfish for you to be putting yourself before the needs of your children during special occasions. So if you, again, extend yourself and offer your co-parent the opportunity to share these occasions with you, your children will thank you. They'll appreciate it, and in the long run, they'll turn around and say, thank you, Mom and Dad. That meant a lot to me. You just made my life easier as I went through the process. And that's a gift we want to give to our children, and a gift they deserve, for sure. Number 5, you and your ex won't agree in all things, so decide to pick your battles. Pick your battles when it comes to co-parenting, because there are going to be enormous challenges ahead. Every family has challenges in parenting, even if you stayed together and were still married. Children have a way of getting in trouble, of having personality and anxiety problems. Things just happen. And if you're taking the normal parenting challenges that take place, and then you're creating more anxiety because of the co-parenting equation, then you're just setting everyone up for more pain and turmoil, and that doesn't have to be the case. So why don't you step up and pick your battles? That means you can't micromanage every detail of what the co-parent is doing and the rules in your co-parent's house. So it may be the rules for a sleep time are different in 2 houses. It may be the rules for discipline are different. The rules for when and how we do our homework and all the other things that take place in a normal home when you're parenting children and teens. And so what you want to do is find the areas that you both agree on, talk to each other as much as you possibly can to create those agreements. And if you find areas of disagreement, then you have to decide whether this is a battle that's worth fighting again and again and again. Let things go. Children are flexible and can adapt to different rules in different houses much better than they can adapt to mom and dad fighting and clawing at each other and putting each other down around the children. That's where the pain happens. So step up and be mature, responsible adults and decide what's worth addressing and discussing and what's really worth battling over. And if you need to bring in legal help for a battle because you feel it's affecting the health and well-being of your child, then in those specific cases, move ahead. But otherwise, step away and be the role model and parent you want to be with your child when you're with your child. And when you're not, let them be with their other parent and experience the reality of life in that other parent's home. So you're identifying the situations you can control versus the ones you can't control, the battles that you won't win versus the battles that you need to stick up and fight, and your children will thank you for taking the high road whenever possible in that regard. It makes a huge, huge difference. So there are many resources that you can use, and suggestion number 6 is that you enlist the help of an online scheduling tool so you can keep straight about a lot of the details in co-parenting and eliminate the need for communication and conversation if that isn't the easiest arena for you. The online co-parenting tools are designed to help co-parents eliminate unnecessary conflict and confusion because everything you need is in one place, online, where you can access it. So that means everything from your day-to-day schedules of who's picking up whom, when, at what time, when the sports teams are taking place and the other activities and hobbies, as well as things like what size clothing the children are wearing and are they now a different size shoe than they were 6 months ago. All of that can be updated. All the medical information you have, which doctors to call for emergencies, so that neither parent feels that they're out of the loop. Maybe mom's more familiar with the dentist and the doctor visits, but dad has an emergency and needs to know about that. If you use the online tools, the information is immediately available even if the other co-parent isn't available, so you have access to things. It also helps you with all the school information, who to contact when, that the schools get contact access to both of you, and that details about challenges or issues are all there right in front of you. I highly recommend using these tools, especially if when you get on the phone with one another and you're talking about conversation or topic A, and suddenly topic C comes into play because that's the area where you have most contention, and suddenly you're ending the call with another fight about C when all you were doing was addressing A to begin with. All of that is unnecessary. Now, there are many tools. Some of them are free. Some of them are about $100 a year. You can research several. One of the new ones that is free is called moietyapp.com, moietyapp.com. And there's no charge for this service, and it helps you schedule the details that you want to keep straight about visits and school activities, sports, vacations, holidays, parties. So you know in advance who's having the kids for the Christmas holidays and who's having them over Thanksgiving or Easter, et cetera, et cetera. Life is simpler when you're focused in that direction and when you're cooperating with one another. So research, take advantage of these tools, and you will be much happier and more pleased with the co-parenting experience. And even if you do get along as co-parents and talk frequently and it's not an issue, it's great to have this backup, the details of backup, so that in case you forget something or in case there's an emergency and one of you needs to push back the pickup time for an hour and you can't reach the other partner, if you post it there, then the partners can be looking and catching all the updates, and it just makes life a lot easier. So we discussed 6 key principles that are basically on communication levels that will help you and help your ex and help your children eliminate a lot of the stress related to divorce, related to eliminating the conflict, the jealousy, the tension, and the other emotions that the highly emotionally charged topic of co-parenting after a divorce. If you choose to ignore these rules or break these rules, basically you're sabotaging your sense of trust with your ex, and that opens the door to a lot of pain, mind games, and misunderstandings, miscommunication, retaliation, discord, and everyone in the family becomes on guard. You're walking through family life on eggshells, and you don't want that, you don't need that, and especially remember that when that happens, your children are the ones who are paying the price. So my suggestion is for you to be the hero in your relationship with your children, and that means getting along with your co-parent, even if you don't like a lot about them. Remember, you chose to have them as a partner at some point. You loved each other most likely at some point. And there's a part of you that made these beautiful children together, which makes it very significant that you open yourself up to developing the very best co-parenting relationship for the sake of the kids. It's for the kids you're doing it, not for their sake or for your sake. So if you cooperate, if you collaborate, if you're flexible, and especially if you do favors for one another, you're more likely to get that kind of behavior in return. Someone has to step up and be the first to break the system where you're both on guard and hateful to one another. And if you step up and do a favor, your ex is more likely to do a favor in return. And let me tell you, as someone who's raised a child and into adulthood, there are many, many times you're going to need your co-parent to get you through a tight spot because emergencies happen, sickness happens, unexpected things happen, and you want to be able to call on that person and say, hey, I'm in a tough spot. Can you do me a favor and let's change this, that, and the other thing. That's what it's all about. It's co-parenting. And when you cooperate and collaborate and remember why you're doing this, life is better for everyone in the family. So why are you doing this? Because you are both parents of children you love, and those children come first. Those children are the most important thing in your life, and you want to do right by them. So if you need help and visit the Child-Centered Divorce Network, you will find resources of tremendous value to you before, during, and long after divorce, and that's child-centereddivorce.com. If you want to reach out to me and for coaching services and information on various programs and resources, you can reach me at Rosalind, ROSALIND, at child-centereddivorce.com. We have wonderful courses and programs online that you can find. Just click the coaching button, click the info buttons on various courses and programs, and you'll see the material we have to help you, especially co-parenting programs that are available. So the resources are there. Take advantage of them, and you'll never regret it. Thank you for listening. I hope you'll join us next time as well. This is Rosalind Sedacca with WGSN-DB, the Going Solo Network. You've been listening to Divorce, Dating, and Empowered Living. Bye-bye for now.